What's up, guys? I'm Somm back again, and today we have a very special video. As much as I like writing about Veuve Clicquot and drinking Grand Cru Beaujolais, as much as I drink wine, that is not something I can afford to do with every single meal. So, you guys voted, and you guys chose Riesling as the varietal that you wanted to see for the battle of the Meijer value wines. So, I went to Meijer, and I bought every Riesling that I could find for under $10 that wasn't considered a late harvest Riesling. So, here we are. Without further ado, let's get into these wines. The first wine I have is $9.99, and it is from Moselle, Germany. Moselle is one of the, if not the most famous wine regions in the world for Riesling, and their famous slate soils help capture any heat that the German climate can muster in its rather cooler climate. On the nose, this wine's very, very bright. I get a lot of citrus, definite lime, a little bit of lemon zest. A little bit of a subtle, got that subtle undertone like a plastic, a little bit of petrol. Very common for especially German Moselle Riesling. Nice and clean, very fresh, very fruit forward. Has a little bit of a salinity to it, some nice minerality. I like that on the finish. It's got good acidity. For $9, it's a very solid wine. Strong start. I really like the freshness of that wine. It's very fruit forward, but it's got that nice minerality to counterbalance it. It's not all about fruit, and it's not too sweet at all. It's nice and dry. So next we have the Chateau Ste. Michelle. I believe this is also 2017 Riesling from the Columbia Valley in Washington. Chateau Ste. Michelle is rather a famous winery. It is actually Washington's oldest winery. And many famous winemakers have actually gotten their start working at Chateau Ste. Michelle. So we're just going to do a quick little rinse. Now I do expect this wine to be a little bit sweeter than the first one, as they use the sweetness, International Riesling Sweetness Scale on the back, and it states that it is medium dry. On the nose, it's a little bit more, I would say, aromatically challenged. I'm not getting quite as much. Still a little bit, still fruity. I get some, a little bit more ripe fruit, not quite as much citrus. I get some more like peachy kind of stone fruit undertones. And I can get a little bit of the sweetness kind of on the nose too. But definitely not nearly as aromatic as the first one. That being said, it's not terrible. I get a little bit of that stone fruit on the palate. It's not really overly complex. The sweetness is somewhat balanced. It's not overly sweet, but I do get that little bit of residual sugar kind of hitting me in the back of the tongue. But it's not kind of obtrusive or really at all. I would say it's solid. It's got good acidity to balance out the sweetness and decent fruit. It does kind of have that delicious factor that a lot of sweeter wines have. You know, it's solid made wine. For $8.99, it's hard to really complain about that price point. That being said, lots of restaurants carry this wine, and you'll probably see it at a much higher price point on their wine list, and I would not pay anything more than $10 for this. But I keep wanting to drink it, so it's not bad. So that was the only US wine. The rest of these are from Germany. Next we have this actually doesn't have a vintage on it. Sorry, 2016 Schmidt-Sohn family Riesling. This is from the Rheinhessen of Germany, which is actually Germany's largest wine growing region. Quick little rinse. This wine also comes in at the $8.99 price point. This wine is very aromatically challenged. I'm getting almost nothing. I get a little bit of that kind of petrol-y, plasticky, kind of rubbery scent to it. But other than that, I really get nothing else. I'm kind of trying to beat it up, but yeah, no fruit really whatsoever. Yeah. I smelled the glass. That's not very good. It kind of tastes like nothing, and it has a little bit of sweetness to it. I guess that sort of gives you something to taste, but something went kind of wrong in the winemaking here. Whether it be that they just irrigated the hell out of it and the berries are, bursting at the seams with water, something's not right here. So I would definitely stay away from this wine if you can. It is only $8.99, so you're not going to pay too much and pay too much of a price if you do decide to try it. That being said, the first two wines are certainly much more interesting. Yeah, let's move on. Finally, we have the 2017 Relax Riesling. This wine also comes in at $8.99 and is also from the Moselle region of Germany. Something interesting actually about this wine is that this wine is actually produced by the same company that makes this wine, but it is from a different region and it is under a completely different label. So quick rinse. Hopefully this shows a little bit better than their other effort. Yeah, still very aromatically challenged. I get a little bit more funk, almost kind of like some rottenness to it. Still very, very aromatically challenged. I get almost nothing. Maybe a little bit of lime zest if I'm like really, really digging. It almost smells like a sour beer, like kind of gross in that way. Kind of off-putting. I don't know if a lot of people would really like this as far as aromatically goes. Wow, that's incredibly sweet. At least there's a little bit something to taste here, mostly sugar. I do taste a little bit of fruit, almost like kind of like a peach skin, not quite like ripe fruit, kind of underripe peach, maybe a little bit of underripe like white cherry. But besides that, it's really kind of just sweet water again. There's a little bit more going on to this one than the other one. Maybe that's just some terroir differences, although I don't know if you're getting a lot of terroir differences in an $8 wine. With that being said, it is slightly better than the last one. So I'm going to say this one in fourth, Relax in third, Chateau Saint Michel in second, and the Clean Slate from Moselle, Germany in first place. I would say to steer clear of these two at $8.99. The Chateau Saint Michel is not a terrible buy at $8.99. It's a little bit sweeter. It can pair well with maybe some sweeter, spicier fare like an Asian or Thai cuisine. At $8.99, I'm not going to be afraid of that wine, and that might be something I might pick up in the future. If you see it on a restaurant list at $30, that is something you are going to want to stay away from. And in first place, we have the Clean Slate Moselle Riesling. It is the least sweet out of the four, which maybe has something to do with why I liked it the most, but it was also clearly the most intriguing. It had some interesting secondary characteristics to it, some nice minerality, and some decent fruit. It wasn't just a sweet kind of sugar water. So, glad you guys watched. Hopefully you can find some wines that you like that are at a decent price point. And with that being said, Somm. Cheers.